delighted to be joined by three wonderful people from the world of culture and sport in this area of County Down, the Mournes. We've got a man here who won 2 All-Irelands for Down, the manager of the Down team. Well, we'll talk about the dates and all that after a while. Pete McGrath. Give Pete a big welcome. And this is Roberta Heaney from the Schomberg Society in Kilkeel. And Roberta, you're development officer.
That's right.
At the moment, yep. And you do all sorts of things up there.
I do everything. A real mix, yeah.
Great. And on the far side is James Donaldson. James's big brother is in a leadership position at the moment politically. And we'll talk to James about that after a while. But James, great to have you, and thanks very much for coming. Pete, I was just thinking about, in fact, I saw an old film of Down in 91, and what years did you in?
91 and 94.
91 and 94. Yeah. I was watching an old video, 80,000 people roaring in the stands. You were there on your own as manager of the team, having to make a decision which may have won or lost the game. What's the feeling like?
Well, I suppose sport and football is something that I grew up with. And you graduate through the ranks. You play for your club, you play for your college, you play for university, whatever it is. And then when I went into management, team management, managing the Down Minors in 1982, we won the All-Ireland in 1987 with the minor team, and I suppose that gave me a very good grounding in terms of managing at the elite level. So you asked the question, 80,000 people in Croke Park, and an All-Ireland final going into the last 10-15 minutes, and the game is on the knife edge, and you are faced with decisions. You might have to make positional changes, you might have to make changes in personnel to try and get the team over the line. And quite often the changes that happen, the changes that are made, most of them are to an extent pre-planned. You look because in the weeks leading up to a match, you know what way players are playing, you know that a certain player may struggle or he may not last the entire 70 minutes. So obviously you've got contingency plans made. And you hope going into the game that you don't have to draw on those contingency plans. But if you do, then you should be pretty confident that the desired outcomes that you're looking for will actually come to fruition.
Would you lie awake at night thinking about the next day?
No. I honestly would say I never lost an hour's sleep over football. Mm-hmm. And I know players and other managers would say the complete opposite, that the night before a major game, they're restless, they're twitchy, they're jumpy, they can't get off to sleep. That never bothered me.
Yes, yes.
Having said that, I've got a very important game on Sunday with the club, which might cause me a bit of angst between now and then, yes. But hopefully we'll get over the line.
We'll check your sleeping between now and then.
Yeah.
Well, Pete, I know Roberta wouldn't lose a night's sleep over football either, I know that.
No, I definitely wouldn't.
But James has played the game, and I want to talk to James about that after a while, along with a few other things. But Roberta, you're in you work with the Schomberg Society, and you do a great job as well. And tell me tell me a little bit about the history of Schomberg and the importance of it in the area.
Well, Tommy, the Schomberg Society was formed back in 1998. It was originally formed from Fife and Lambeg drumming club, and from then it grew and developed. I suppose as the interest in Ulster-Scots grew more and more, that then led on to the formation of the Schomberg Society. And within the Schomberg Society, there's a lot of different elements of Ulster-Scots. Of course, we have our Highland Dance School, we have our 11th of July Reavers Festival, we have our Fuse FM Morn Ulster-Scots Radio, and we have all of our other different music and cultural groups within the centre. So for us, it's a very important part of our identity. It's who we see ourselves as, it's everyday life, it's the language that we speak, it's a surname that we carry with us. It's really a big part of who we are. So it's something we're very proud of down in the Kingdom of Mourne, and it's great to see the culture and the traditions really flourishing.
Fantastic, and we've got some of the dancers associated with the organisation, with the Highland dances and so on. James, you grew up in not very far away. Did you grow up on a farm?
No, I didn't. No, we were reared in a council house out in the countryside. My father came from a farm up in Ballinran, and we spent quite a bit of time on my grandfather's farm. But we were reared in a wee council house just. Right.
And how many was in the family?
There was 5 brothers and 3 sisters.
Right. And Jeffrey, where does Jeffrey come in?
He's number 1 son.
He's number one son. Did he show any signs of leadership in those days? In the young days, I mean.
At school and that now, he would have been very active in the debating club that they had, and I think he won that a few times. And he would have been interested in politics, as would most of the family. My father was a member, had been a young unionist, and so politics was something that was in our house. And as I suppose in many houses, we grew up with that, and with what was going on at the time. And yes, politics played a big role in our lives, I would say.
Yes. You played a bit of football.
I played a wee bit of football. I played for the school team and then for the local team, the Valley Rangers.
Were you up scoring goals or back in the defence?
I was more defensive.
Right, yes.
Didn't I scored a few goals, but not too many.
Yes.
Yeah. But I did enjoy it.
The GAA is a very important part of the nationalist community, if you like. Tell us a little bit about the history, just briefly. When did it begin as a...
Well, the GAA as an organisation was founded in 1884. At that time in Ireland, there were a number of nationalist movements. There was the Gaelic League, was set up in 1893, which was to promote and to try and save the Irish language. At that time, there was a process which historians would call the Anglicisation of Ireland, where the pastimes of the Gael were effectively being diluted and overtaken by British influences, English influences. So the GAA was set up to promote Gaelic games and pastimes to try and reinforce and to solidify what they would see as the national identity. And it was through the games and pastimes, the language, the music, and that the contribution that the GAA has made to the country can never ever be truly quantified. The majority of work and that has gone into it has been done by volunteers, by people who receive virtually no monetary reward at all. And speaking outside to a couple of people, I would say that not only the GAA, but sport generally, I would say, has fashioned the lives of so many young people, be it Gaelic games, be it soccer, be it rugby, whatever sport you want to talk about. And it is such an intrinsic part of the lives of people. Those who play it, those who support it, those who go to matches, and the life values that are promoted through sport. Loyalty, courage, being part of something that's bigger than you, discipline, self-discipline, and the identity with your community. So, again, if you can just imagine a world, imagine Ireland without sport, what would young people be doing?
You don't get paid for it. I mean, it's an amateur sport in the sense of love of the game rather than less than professional, of course. But in fact, there's an interesting little poetic action poem done in the GAA place. It's not what you get for the game, but what you get from the game. And I suppose that's Sam Maguire, the ultimate trophy, Sam Maguire Cup.
Yeah.
He was a Protestant, wasn't he?
He was in Cork. He would have gone to England and worked, I think, for the post office in England. He would have been a close associate of Michael Collins. And when Sam Maguire came back to Ireland, I think he died a relatively young man. And in 1926, the GAA officially, donated the Sam Maguire Cup to the winners of the All-Ireland Football Championship. So there's no question that the GAA and national identity and nationalism have been very, very closely connected.
How exclusive must it be? Is there room or space for the Ulster-Scots tradition, for example, to fit into it?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Because there is no rule, there is no statement in the GAA handbook which excludes anyone. It's inclusive, and I mean, I have played Gaelic football with people from other traditions, and there's, for example, there's two people who play currently for the Monaghan senior team, Ryan Wiley and Drew Wiley, who are non-Catholics, and they are very, very good footballers. They've won Ulster Championship medals. So it is absolutely an inclusive organisation. It really, really is. And I was thinking just over this last couple of days about inclusivity, and I said to myself, I mean, wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be great? An All-Ireland final in Croke Park, and instead of the Artane Boys band, we have got an orange band playing flutes or whatever. And Lambeg drums before an All-Ireland final. Would that be a tremendous statement of including everyone in this island? Because there's so much that is common to us and unites us. And those few things that maybe are divisive, let's sort them out. But absolutely, it's a very, very, very welcoming organisation. I can remember in 1994, Danny, when we won the All-Ireland, and Newry and Mourne District Council gave a civic reception. Yes, Danny was chairman at the time, and the Queen, I think, was visiting the north of Ireland at the time. And Danny said to me, he said, Pete, would you believe it? Even the Queen wore red and black the day, which is the down colours. So, I don't know.
Well, there's hope. There's hope for us all.
Of course.
Well, we're going to have a song now, a very special song too, from Bróna McVittie. A song actually which was written by a man called Brian O'Higgins. And I had an uncle who had been in prison in China for many years, and he came home, and he didn't realise that he was at home because he'd been tortured. But it is only when Brian O'Higgins came to the house and sang this song that he realised he was home. And I'm delighted that we have Bróna McVittie from Rostrevor to sing A Store McCree.
From the home you'll soon the stranger's land, and maybe bright and fair, and rich in treasures golden. You pine, I know, for the long, long ago, and the love that is never olden. A storm o'cree in the stranger's land. There is plenty of wealth and of wheeling, while the gems adorn the great and the grand. There are faces with hunger peeling. Oh, the road may be dreary and hard to tread, and the lights of the city blind you. Won't you turn a store from Erin's green shore, and the ones you are leaving behind you? A storm o'cree when the evening's mist off the mountain and meadow is falling. Won't you turn away from the throng and the list, and maybe you'll hear me calling? For the sound of a voice will be surely mine, and the lights of the city blind you. Won't you come back soon to the one who will always love you?
Thank you very much indeed, Bróna. Well, the Roberta, you're involved with promoting the music tradition within the Ulster-Scots and I suppose the union's community. I think I'm not too sure how much nationalists understand the importance of your music to your people, even outside of politics. It's a big organisation, the band's organisation, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And sometimes I think people don't realise how important the marching band tradition or the Ulster-Scots tradition really is to people. For some people, it's their whole lives. Myself, I've been a member of a marching band since I was 7, and I still am. So I'm in a marching band now, I know, almost 20 years. And it's a very, very proud part of my identity. All of my friends are in marching bands, my family, my father was in the band that I was in. And it's something we are very proud of. If you take marching bands, there's a lot of young people come through the doors. They're tutored, they're gaining skills, they're making friendships, they're learning a discipline. And, you know, for them young people, they're maybe out every weekend taking part, be it in a band parade or a concert or perhaps a contest. Some of them also undertake examinations, so it's a big part of their lives.
You're bringing this music and dance outside your immediate area to other places, other communities. How important is that?
I think it's very important. I think it's important that we showcase our identity, our musical tradition. I mean, in the Schomberg Society, we've been invited to a lot of different venues right across the South Down and further afield as well. And people are interested. They want to know about Ulster-Scots. They want to know about the marching band tradition, Fife's Lambeg drums, our language, our history. People want to know. People are interested.
Well, you're going to give us a tune very soon on the Fife and the Lambeg. James, Lambeg drumming is also it's a very special art. I know Lambeg drummers who when they're away in their mind they're practicing, and it's very much part of their life. There's a lot of different roles, syncopation and all those things. It's not just as simple as it looks, is it, to play?
No, it's not, and it's like everything else until you get in on it and find out more about it till you actually know what's going on. Lambeg drumming is a bit like football. There's competitions on every weekend in nooks and crannies all across the country, and you go there and there are people who are absolute fanatics Lambeg drumming, and their lives revolve around Lambeg drumming, and they're competition drummers mostly. They may not even be the drummers, they may be the guys that build the drum and set the drum, and there's a lot of skill involved, there's a lot of time involved, a lot of preparation for a drumming match. So during the week they'll be pulling it, giving the drum a pull, they'll be tightening it, they'll be putting heads in, they'll be practicing on it, and then when it comes to weekend there'll be one man and his job is to drum it, there'll be somebody there to level the drum, so that both sides of the drum, both heads are making the exact same pitch, because they'll be judged on that. And there'll be others there as well, a backup team to help get the drum in order, get it pulled, get it tightened. And the skill of a drummer, the sound of the drum, how well he can play it, there's a lot of work in it. And for some folk, it is their lives. And they're very proud of their Lambeg drums, and they're proud of their Lambeg drumming. And it is a tradition that stretches back for hundreds of years, and something that's great to see so many young people nowadays, a revival, I could say, in Lambeg drumming. So many young people now looking to get involved in it and to learn more about it.
The fact that Lambeg drums are associated with the 12th of July or Orangeism or red, white and blue, and the GAA is associated with the green, white and orange flag. And obviously they're separate identities in one sense, yet they both crisscross. Do you see any sense of common bonds now or in the future, Pete?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, what James is talking about there, about the amount of time that people put into practicing, competing, the pride that they have in what they do, it identifies with their community, right? So I mean, all of that also applies to the GAA. But unfortunately, I mean, for too long, and it's no one's fault, because we're all prisoners of history to a large extent, whether we like it or not. But sometimes when I talk about what the GAA does for the community, and James talks about what the Orange Order and the Lambeg drum and the practicing and what it means to their community. We're talking about two different communities, and that's the problem. That is a problem, and there's so much common ground. I mean, it would give me great pleasure, for example, to take a couple of young fellas from James' tradition, okay, to a Gaelic football match, show them what happens, the preparation, and then for them to take me to what you're talking about. Because we can learn so much from each other, and it's about sharing, and about experiencing, because at the end of the day, life is it's a journey. It's about experiencing as much as you possibly can, learning from other people, and I mean, for too long in this country, we've operated on what I call zero-sum politics. What is good for what the one side gets, then somehow or other the other side are losing out. And until we get over that mentality, and I think the Orange tradition, the Orange Order tradition, and all the good things that they have done for people, for their own people, right? And all the good things that the GA has done for this country, I think there's so much common ground. And there's so much potential benefit there. I think it is in certain ways disastrous and an indictment on us all that there isn't a coming together and being able to learn from each other, benefit from each other, and it's about a life experience.
Well, I think we're going to be in for a wonderful experience on two counts. We're going to get to Lambeg and Fife. And Roberta, would you introduce the dancers first, please?
I will indeed, Tommy. We're going to be joined by the Schomberg Society's Kirknarra School of Dance. And that's our Ulster-Scots, or Scottish Highland Dance School, based in Kilkeel and in Annalong. They were one of the first Highland dance schools formed in Northern Ireland way back in 2002. And I'm very, very proud to say that I play a big role in the dance school, and it's great to see them, probably the biggest there ever are. We've got over 70 dancers registered under the dance school, and as well as that, we do a lot of outreach into local schools to learn children the art and skill of Highland dance. So we're going to have a short performance by our Kirknarra School of Dance. I wanted to say as well that Kirknarra is the Ulster-Scots, or Scots meaning for Kilkeel. Of course, I'm sure you know Kilkeel means Church of the Narrows. So we have Kirk being Scots for church and Narra being Scots for narrow. So we have the Kirknarra School of Dance, and they're going to be performing for you a selection of Highland dances.
Wonderful. Give them a big round of applause, these dancers. looking forward to hearing a few tunes on the Lambeg and Fife, and looking out for those what do they call them, paradiddles and semi-paradiddles. Have you any chants or little songs that you to remember, rhythms or anything like that?
Well, most of the counties would have their own time. So they'll all have wee rhythms, and some will have wee rhymes as well to remember. When young ones come along at the start to learn with us in Kilkeel, we learn them a wee rhythm, and it's Biddy Madole, Biddy Madole, Biddy Madole and Andy. And everybody in the Kingdom of Mourne nearly learns that wee one. And it goes back as long as people can mind.
Yes.
We'll also learn them, I think I can drum but I can't. I think I can drum but I can't. I think I can drum but I can't. And it carries on. And it's particularly for young fellas who think they can drum but they can't. And so then those are the building blocks, and then they're added in to make more complicated tunes. Competition drummers have their own wee rhythms that tend to freestyle, and they'll be adding in lots of those paradiddles that you're talking about, very, very, very tight rules. They'll be trying to get as many rules in as they possibly can to show their skill and their strength and their endurance. And a lot of them don't like telling you what that rhythm is. You have to listen very, very carefully.
Yes.
What we tend to do in the Schomberg Fife and Drum, as Roberta says, that was originally where the Schomberg Society come from, is fifing and drumming. The drums don't be nearly as tight, and we play slower rhythms to walk along with the fifes. If you're carrying a Lambeg drum, you don't tend to walk that fast, and so the rhythm's quite slow, and you're going down the road.
Yes.
And they say that in Belfast, the era of the Lambeg drum in the parades nearly ground to halt because they were too slow, and they had these marching bands coming on. The Lambeg drum became a bit of a hindrance for them, and you tend to find them more in the rural parades on the 12th of July and that, because we're a wee bit more easier going there.
Yes, fantastic. Well, James and Roberta, really looking forward to hearing you play. Give them a big round of applause, and thank you very much indeed.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, thanks to Tommy for inviting us along here today to give a wee demonstration on fifing and drumming. It's myself, James Donaldson, on the Lambeg drum, and this is Roberta Heaney. And we're going to play us a couple of wee traditional tunes. The first one we're going to play is The Girl I Left Behind, and we're going to be playing it to a traditional Lambeg rhythm, Tandagee time. So I'm going to hook her on to play this one here. Roberta's going to lead us in then on The Girl I Left Behind on the fife, and then we'll go on to the next one after that. So that's the first wee tune. The next one we're going to play is another traditional one, and it's 100 Pipers, traditional Scottish one. And we're going to play it to the Lambeg time, County Down time. There's rhythms and times for every county nearly in Northern Ireland, and then lots of towns and villages have their own wee times as well. And after that, so this is County Down time. Roberta's going to lead us in once again on the fife, and it's 100 Pipers.